Hello, this is Mr. Agbamu Idonogrene. I'm here to teach mathematics on the topic coordinate geometry. And in today's class, my objectives are calculate the midpoint of a line joining 2 points, then calculate the coordinate of a point which divide a line in a given ratio. So let's start the class now. Now, last class we looked at distance between 2 points. And if you recall from the last class, for you to get the distance between 2 points, you need to know the coordinate of the 2 points. And in our last class, I used A and B as the labeling of the 2 points. So the first point have coordinate x1, y1, and the second point have coordinate x2, y2. So this is the equation we derived in our last class, which is distance between 2 points. So the first point have coordinate x1, y1, then the second point have coordinate x2, y2. So all you just need to do is to subtract second coordinate minus first coordinate and square it. Then add it to second coordinate minus first coordinate for the y coordinate, then square the result, then find the square root. So with this you can get the distance between any 2 points on the coordinate geometry. So in today's class, I want to see how you can get the midpoint. So if you have 2 points A and B, so how do you get the middle point, which is the midpoint between them? So that is what we are going to do in today's class. So I'm still going to use this animation I used here to demonstrate this lesson so that you can understand it very well. So let's take this slider as our x1 and y1. You can see this is the first point. If I say show the first point, you can see this is the first point there. So when x is 3, that's x1 is 3, y1 is 1. That's what you have here. When x is 3, you can see it, then y is 1. So that is the first point. Then let's go to the second slider, which is x2 and y2. So if I show it, you will see it. That is this. See it clearly here. Let me move it to this side. So when x2 is 6, see x is 6. When you trace the graph, when x is 6, y is 7, y2 is 7. Let's see it on the y-axis. So you can move the slider to any extent you want. So you can leave it in this place if you wish. You can see it. Then y2, you can move it to this place if you wish. So let's leave it here, because just all we want to do into this class is to get the formula to use, so that when they ask you to find the distance between 2 points, you don't have any issues. You can easily do it. So you see, let me leave this one here. Okay, let me move this. Okay, let's leave it here now. So what do we do now? How do you get the middle point? If I join A to B, you can see this is A to B. So the middle point is a point at the center of this line. So that is the middle point. So how do I get this point? So we need a formula that is something like you can see show midpoint here. So this is the middle point of this line we have here. You can see it's 5 and 4. That is the middle point. But we cannot keep drawing graph like this, because this is not the target of the topic. The topic is you need to know the formula so that you can solve it quickly and get your result. So how do we do that? If you want to derive this formula, you need to make some sketches. Let me move A to the top. Let's just make some sketch. Let's get a line segment. Let me use the hidden line format. So if I trace this point down to signify our y2, if I trace this point down, see, this is our x1, this is x2, x1. So let's get the y1. So this is y1, then this is y2. Take note of this. Okay. Then if you trace this point down to this place, see, you are going to get a right angle triangle. This is ABH. So this is a right angle triangle, and this is our midpoint. So this midpoint is, let's label it as let's label it x y. Let me label it xy. So let's take it as x comma y. Okay, so this is the midpoint. So this is the coordinate of the midpoint, which is x. Okay, so x is the first point, which is 5, then y is the second point, which is 4. So if I also trace it, let me trace it down. If I trace this point down also, I trace this, see, and if I trace this one also, this is what we are going to get. So now, how do we get the equation so that we can easily solve it without plotting our graph? How do we get a formula to solve the middle point when 2 points are given? So what do we do now? We need to get the distance from this center point to point A, this place. Also from this center point to point H. If we can get this distance, we equate them, because we know that midpoint, which is middle point, is the center of this straight line A to B. The center is this is the center of the straight line. So if I can get the center of this x, this horizontal line here, this base of this triangle, and get the middle point, this point will be equal to this line. The same thing with the vertical line here. If I can get the distance from H to J here, it will be equals to J to B. That is our target. So how do we do that? Let's use our alphabet to label it. Let me get my pen so that we can label it for you to get well. So what I'm saying is this. Remember this first point, I call this x1. You can see it. Then I call the second coordinate y1. So this point, the distance from A to I in this place is going to be, this point is x. So it's going to be x. This is going to be x minus x1. So x minus x1, you know this is x axis, so x is the coordinate here, minus x1 will give us this distance. Since from 0 line to this point is x, then from 0 line to this point is x1. So x minus x1 will give us the remainder from this point to this point. So also with this second point, x2 is the coordinate on this line, which is this 9 is x2. You can see it, 9 is x2. So if you take x2, if you use x2, x2 minus x will be the distance from this place. This is all you need to know so that you not forget this formula. So x2 from the 0 line to this point is x2, then from 0 line again to this point is x. When you subtract x2 minus x, you will get this short distance. So this is all. Then you now equate them. X minus x1 is equals to x2 minus x. Then from there you make x the subject. That will give you the coordinate of this value x. If you solve with that, you will get 5 as your answer. The same thing with the y-axis, j and h. From j to 0 line here to 0 is y, which gave us 4, but we want to derive a formula first, which is y. Then from h to d, the 0 line d is y1, which is the first coordinate here. You can see it, y1, which is 2. So this distance is going to be y minus y1. So that is this distance. Then this other distance is going to be y2, which is 6. So y2 is 6. So y2 minus y will be the distance here. So y2 minus y. So that is the distance here. Same thing with the x-axis. So y minus y1 will be equal to y2 minus y. You equate them and make y the subject. So that will give us 4 if you substitute the values. So with this, you are done with the sketch on your graph. So you can equate them. So for us to get this coordinate we need now, x, y, for us to derive the general equation, all I just need to do, I will equate x minus x1 equals to x2 minus x. That is all. Then for the y coordinate, I will equate y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y. So that is all I will do, and we'll derive the equation. So let me remove this point before we go to our write-up. Okay, so that is all. So the midpoint of a line segment is gotten from, so all we need to do first is, let's make a statement of it. Let's say the midpoint of a line segment is, so if I take x comma y, let's say x comma y, this is our midpoint. So this is the midpoint, x comma y. So if this is the midpoint, so therefore now all I need now is x comma y. Okay, so the x comma y will now give us, okay, let's derive for the first one. Let's derive for the x coordinate now. So remember what we did here. I said x, I need my mathematical expression. So x minus x1, then you equate it to x1. X minus x1 will now be equals to x2 minus x. So if you equate these two, you will get your result now. Then make x the subject. If I want to make x the subject, this x, when you cross over to this place, will become plus. Then minus x1 will become plus in this side. So I'm going plus x now be equals to x2 plus x1. So this is what we are going to get. You can see it. Minus x becomes plus, then minus x1 becomes plus. Then these are like terms. X and x are like terms, so to give us 2, this will give us 2x. So 2x will now be equals to x2 and x1. They are not like terms, so you cannot add and get the result. So you have your x2 plus x1. Then the next stage of the calculation, we are dividing both sides by 2. So that will give us our final answer, which is x equals to x2 plus x1 divided by 2. So this is the first coordinate in our calculation. So this is the first coordinate in our calculation. So the coordinate of x is going to be x2 plus x1 divided by 2. So you get that. So for us to get for y, we do the same thing. In order to get for y. Let me just do it on this corner. If I do same thing for y, which is y, let's put it in mathematical mode, which is y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y. So the same thing you do to get your x, to get your y coordinate. Then when you move to the next line, let me move to this side so that we can get it well. Okay, so when you move to the next line, same thing what we did here. So let me position it well so that we can get it very well. Okay, so if you do the same calculation, bring your y to this side, will become plus, minus y1 will become plus on this side. So we are going to have y plus y equals to y2 plus y1. Then y is like term, so you have 2y equals to y2, they are not like terms, and y1. So you have your y2 plus y1. Then the next stage is to divide both sides by 2. That will give you your final result. So you divide both sides by 2, you are going to have y is equals to y2 plus y1. y2 plus y1 divided by 2. So these are the coordinates. If you want to put the final answer, so if you are asked to solve the midpoint of any line, so with these two coordinates you can get your result. All you need to do is to solve for the x coordinate first, then solve for the y coordinate, then put both results in a bracket so you get your midpoint. For example, this example we used the other time, let's say you have this question now. 1 and 2 is first point, then 9 and 6 is second point. Let me just put it as example. Let's see. Assuming you are asked to find a question like this, let's say example. They ask you to find the midpoint. Find the midpoint of the line joining the points. Something like this. 2, 1. So this is the first point. I'm trying to use this example we have here. Okay, it's 1, 2. X is 1, y is 2. Then 9 and 6. Alright. Something like this. 1, 2. And second point, which is B. That is 9, 6. We are asked to find the midpoint of this kind of question. Remember what we got as our answer? We got 5, 4. So we said the midpoint is 5, 4. So if you want to solve this one now, instead of plotting your graph like this, drawing all these lines, all you need for what I did in this class is to derive your equation. So if you can derive your equation, you are okay, so that you can use it to solve your problem. So you just need to know how we got this formula. In case they ask you to find it in any exam, you can do it without any problem. If you say find the midpoint of the line joining the point A, seed B, so we are expected to get 5, 4. The same answer we got here, 5, 4. This is what we're supposed to get as our answer. So that means when you solve for x, you will get 5. When you solve for y, you will get 4. So all you just need to do is to use this formula and you are okay. So what I will just do is I'll just say x equals to, so my first coordinate for x is 1. My second coordinate for x is 9. So I'll just add the 9 plus 1, see, which is x2 plus x1. I'll just put 9 plus 1. Then you divide by 2. That is all. That's all you are doing for midpoint. It's not a difficult thing. Then what is x now? X will now be equals to, so this is 10 divided by 2. Then your final result will now be, the final answer will now give you x is equals to 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that is the first result. Then you do also for the y coordinate. Let's do it on this side also. For y coordinate, you say y is equals to, so the second coordinate for point A is 2, the second coordinate for point B, which is the y coordinate, is 6, so which is 6 plus 2. That's what we're doing here. 6 plus 2. Then you divide your results by 2. Just follow the formula. That is all. It's a very simple calculation. Then in your next step, you have y is equals to 6 plus 2. You get 8 divided by 2. Your final result will now be, then y will now be equals to 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this is your answer. Then you will now say therefore the midpoint. So therefore midpoint will now be equals to, let me put it in statement, midpoint x comma y will now be equal to, then you open your brackets, now be equals to, x is 5, y is 4. Okay, x is 5, y is 4. So this is your answer. This is your final answer. So that is all in midpoint of a line segment. So it's not difficult than this. It's very easy. Just take note of these two equations and you are done with that. So it can never be difficult than this. It's very easy and simple. Okay, let's go to the next objective we have. We said coordinate of a point will divide a line in a given ratio. Let's try this and see what we are going to get.